I say it's Zevahim Daf Bet Amud Aleph 5 lines down. The Gemara says, one second, why did we say earlier that if one animal is mixed with a bunch of animals, it makes them all asur if the one animal was there? The Gemara says, but why doesn't it be nullified like majority, like most other cases when you mix stuff? The Gemara says, "V'chitema hashiv l'bakli." If one is like, you know why? Because animals are considered hashub, and therefore it can't be nullified with mixing. Gemara says, only if it's according to the opinion that holds, called shedakol melchaninu, that we learned the Mishnah as in any item that is usually counted, and meaning not counted by itself. People will sell things at value by the piece because it's significant. And that's an animal in general because that's how people sell animals. They don't sell like, okay, I'm selling all the animals here. They count animals separately. So even if one guy were to say, I'll throw you an extra animal in, that's not change the fact that the animals are considered significant. That makes sense according to that opinion. According to the opinion that holds that Mishnah is referring to um, something that's exclusively sold. According to him, has expanded in Mishnah, meaning according to the second way of learning, according to the Meir, it's only considered significant if it's only sold by the piece. And since some people don't sell it by the piece, but rather they'll throw in extra animals, then it loses the significance. Something that would seemingly always be sold by the piece in the second way of learning will probably be like a gold bar. No one says, oh yeah, take this extra gold bar for free. According to Mike Lema, well, how would he explain our Mishnah? Seemingly, it should be able to be nullified. Where it says, the Mishnah says, now we're going to explain that Mishnah. Misha hayulo havilet hiltan shekila kere. Somebody had bundles of spice. They were klaim made with vineyard, yani they were mixed with grapes while being grown, which is klaim. Yidal kulish all burn it. The dafu b'achirim, these are mixed with other bundles. V'achirim b'achirim, and other mixtures with those bundles. Kulin yidal kuli all burn. Did American to America? I'm going to say yalu b'echad time. You can nullify it in a mixture of 1 to 200 ratio. Shehad b'mer say kol shadakot leminot mekadesh. Anything that's normally counted. It can make everything but it can never be batel. But how say only six things are hashub enough to make something like that it can't be batel. And Rabbi Akiva Shiva, Rabbi Akiva says there's seven. They don't into the lists. I go to perech, these perech type of nuts, very hashub. Rimon badan, pomegranates made in badan. V'haviot tutumot, casks of wine that are sealed. V'halifat tiradin and beet stalks. V'kilher kirob, cabbage stalks. Udlati vanit and Greek gourds. Rabbi Akiva Mesif Rabbi also adds afki kushel abayit, homemade loaves of bread, because they're also considered hashub in their own way. They're not made wholesale. Especially my wife's. Whoever wants to taste my wife's halal, excellent. Come to us on Friday. Fadlal. Harudu arla is considered arla. Um, just heads up, if you taste my wife's halal, then you may not want your wife's halal, and it's in the cholesterol diet. I do not give free marriage counseling therapy. Okay, so these type of things that if it's able to become orla, then it makes everything else orla. Harula karakim is considered something that's kilakakim. Kilakakim makes everything else kilakakim. So therefore, it's not batel. That's the birth of it. If over there, Rabbi Yochanan says, our Mishnah is talking about a case where it's sold only by number, and therefore it cannot be nullified. It means more normally counted, and therefore it could be nullified if people don't do it. The Gemara says, according to Yochanan, who holds that it's not batel, that it is batel. Why? What does he say over here? The Gemara says, "Marpa, hi Tana, this brayta is according to Tana Delitra Kisiyahu, who's the same Tana who holds the halacha of the dried figs. The Amar that he says, Kol shedavar shesh mania, anything that's counted by number, afilu b'deraban lebatil, even derabanan, it's not batel. The kol shekem deraita, for short cases, the deraita, like our Mishnah, which is talking about animals, are also not it's one of deraita because it's hekdesh." Okay, next. Tanya, this is the bright top of the dried figs case. Now, the someone is has dried figs that are teruma, and he pressed it into the mouth of a mold to make like a cake. The end of the day, he doesn't know which mold he used. Api havit, or if you put it into or if he put it into like a cask. The end of the day, havit, I don't know which cask he put into. Api kaveres, he put into the mouth of a beehive, a hive rather, like a basket. But anyway, Be'ezah kaveres, he doesn't know which one he had, and he has many of each. Rabbi Dawid says, if you look at the top of these barrels and the top of these things, these dried figs, as if they're separated from the rest. and therefore and therefore the bottoms of all the tops are make everything else nullified. They're all separate. Therefore, the tops are nullified by the bottoms. Rabbi Yeshua says that in Yesh Me'al Pumim, there's 100 mouths, Ya'alu, then you can nullify it. If not, Hapumim mouths, the tops are all Asur, Vashlam, the bottoms are all Mutar. That is according to the mayor, the machloket between Eliezer and Yeshua. However, Rabbi Dami says no different machloket. Eliezer and Rabbi says, behold, in yesh sham alei akpamina, if there's 100 mouths, yalu it's nullified. If not, akpamina string and tzasur. Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi says, I feel yesh sham shalsham od pumina, even if there's 300, yalu nullification. So we see that our Mishnah follows the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua, with according to Rabbi Yehuda, that it's not nullified. The Gemara says, "Drasa be'igul." Next part of the Breta says that if it's pressed into the mold, he doesn't know which part of the mold he used. Also, not the north or the south, meaning to the top or the bottom of the mold. David everybody agrees that it's nullified. Rashi says, you know what? You could even say it's according to Harim in our Mishnah. Ba'alei hayim hashub, but animals are hashub, they're not nullified. So even according to this opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, it would be according to everybody in this case. You don't need to be according to Yeshua via Rabbi Yehuda because he would agree, everybody would agree to him in this case that animals are different and they are more machmir, that is not nullified.